This is the 2023 Volvo S60 all-wheel drive plus dark theme. We're going to answer the question, what exactly do you get for the sticker price of $58,690? Well, one thing you definitely get here are very comfortable seats within the interior. This model does have the climate package. It's not the cold climate package, but the climate package, which is basically the same thing. So you're going to have those high pressure headlight washers up there. You're going to have the heated steering wheel, and the heated rear seats are part of that package, which means you're obviously going to have heated front seats. Here in Northwest Louisiana at this time of the year, something that is completely unnecessary. The seats themselves are very comfortable. The Harman Kardon audio system definitely makes driving a pleasure because it provides such great sound. And the ride quality is good. We're going to do a full tour of this model, at least a tour on the main features and functionality, because with the full tour it really would be an hour to an hour and a half video. But let's see exactly what you can expect to find for the sticker price on this model. One thing I cannot say about other car makers, at least most, compared to Volvo, is that they have gotten away from the traditional look of the vehicle to a small degree. On the Volvos, that's not the case because the front grille still looks like a Volvo has for many years. So kind of a signature look, if you will. Gloss black in several different places here, including with the front grille. And LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and as many are saying, the Thor's hammer look with the turn signal indicators that we have turned on right there. And a very sleek look with the long nose, a wide stance, which means great handling capabilities. And we also have all-wheel drive. That means we're going to be putting power to the ground in a very efficient way. What tire size do we have here? 235 is the width. The sidewall series is going to be 40, and we're going to have 18-inch wheels. Obviously, this is where you're going to plug in with this model. And the advantage here is that on electric only, you can drive up to 41 miles. At least that's what Volvo says. I haven't been able to test that for myself. I don't know if we'll get a chance to do that at some point in the future, possibly. But that's what Volvo says you can do in that area. Here is the Volvo remote, and an interesting thing here that makes it different is the fact that instead of having all of the buttons on the face of the remote, they're here on the side. But everything that you would expect to see is there. We do have the turn signal indicators built into the heated, power adjustable, power folding side view mirrors with the gloss black mirror cap. We're going to have the body color door handles and the panoramic sunroof. I know a lot of you really like that. When you look from this particular angle, the S60 definitely has a very sporty look, but it also has a balance with a luxurious look at the exact same time. Finishing things off here with the tastefully done rear of the vehicle. The S60 logo is there, the Volvo logo obviously across the top of the trunk area, and the nice looking LED taillights. Yes, you do have the feature that is hands-free here for your trunk, so we'll open that up real quick. Cargo capacity comes in at 11.6 cubic feet. Now, one thing I know that might be the gong for a lot of people on this model is the fact that, well, you have a pass-through right here that is very nifty and very helpful. One thing you don't have, which is unfortunately very common on hybrid models, is you don't have a spare tire. Instead, you have the tire repair kit. Tell me what your thoughts are on that particular area. I know a lot of people don't like that. Don't blame you for it either. Here's how you're going to maximize cargo capacity. Obviously, you can do this with both sides of the seats. We're just going to do one side for the purposes of today's video. Under the hood, you're going to find the 2-liter direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder. Kind of an interesting thing here with the engine cover is that it's not plastic. It's actually more of a foam style cover, kind of foam rubber combination of sorts. I don't know what that's actually called. Somebody will probably know and tell us down in the comments section. And then obviously paired with the hybrid electric system here, we talked about how far you're supposed to be able to drive on electric only earlier in the video. Horsepower comes in at 455. That's a pretty impressive number. 523 pounds-feet of torque. And power ultimately makes its way to the E all-wheel drive system via an 8-speed automatic transmission. And let's make our way over here to the window sticker. I'm going to try and give you a good enough view because I know some of you like to see the sticker. And so there it is. What we really want to zoom in on here are the numbers. You can see exactly what you have as far as what happens with electric when you're using gas only. That's going to be on the right. Both numbers, or really I should say all numbers, are very impressive no matter what the situation is. If you're looking to have something that definitely has plenty of horsepower, it's a sharp looking vehicle, it's going to get down the road comfortably but quickly when necessary, this is not a bad option. And while we took a quick look into the back seat area earlier in the video, we're going to take a little more in-depth look now. You're going to have a reasonably large door bin on the rear doors, comfortable armrests. When you push with your finger like that, it's definitely soft. And when you put your arm up there, it's definitely soft. And then we're going to have a little bit of storage back here with the, well, kind of map net material. It's not really a map pocket, but there it is. That's what you have as far as storage on the back of the rear seats. And the air conditioning vent location, instead of being on the rear console, the rear of the center console, are here on this area of the pillars. And that means you have a little bit more space here for other options in really a better location. A lot of vehicles have the connectivity down here. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's really better located right here in my personal opinion. The only thing I would say is there should be 3 USB ports instead of just 2 because, well, you can have 3 people back here. And like I said earlier, part of that climate package, heated seats available here, and that's something we won't need for a long time here in Northwest Louisiana now that we're pretty much into the warmer time of the year and it's getting warmer every day. The thing I like here, I'm going to push those cup holders back in for just a second. The design and layout of the fold-down armrest is the fact that you don't have the cup holders built into this area, so you can still have your arm up there. Rear seat passengers can at least, and they can put their drinks right there and still have some space to put their arm if they want to rest their arm on that area. And they can also take advantage of the view from the panoramic sunroof that, yes, does slide open. It's going to be this section right here that opens. And if for some reason a rear seat passenger says, I need more door bin space, well, the door bin on the passenger side door here in the front is literally twice as large as what you have in the back seat area. The armrests still just as comfortable. The seats here are power for the driver and the passenger. Both are heated, and we have some very nice trim and ultimately all materials. Nice, luxurious, high-end, gonna hold up. They seem very durable at least. In the interior, gonna have that nice felt material within the glove box. And then right down here, we're gonna have the controls for the radio. If you need to turn on your hazard lights, well, there's how you do that. You're going to know they're on because of the blinking light right there. And for those who don't like push button shifters, you do have a traditional, kind of traditional style or traditional operating shifter here. It doesn't look traditional, but your hand does fit around that nicely. That works very well. Something that Volvo does to set themselves apart from other car manufacturers out there. Here is where the control is, and it's actually a switch. You just turn it this way to start and stop the engine instead of having it up here in this area of the dashboard. Quite a bit of gloss black throughout in quite a few areas. It looks nice. It may fingerprint up a little bit, but it does look nice. You can conceal away those cup holders. And right here, we're going to have a little bit more in the way of connectivity options and a small amount of space for storage. And like I said earlier, you do have the ability to open the panoramic sunroof. And so here's a couple of things with that. You're just going to swipe your finger like that. That's how it's going to open. But let me do one more thing here, and I'll turn that back off. Let's see if I can get that to go off. If you want to draw the shade forward, you're just going to swipe your finger forward again, and you do have the shade for the panoramic sunroof if you desire to use that. And for those who might say, hey Tom, do those mirrors really fold when you lock the vehicle? You said they do, but you didn't show us. Well, you can't say that now because now I've shown you. And looking in through the driver's side door, obviously, you're going to have a few more switches, a little more functionality here as far as what you can control. And we're going to have the 2 settings for seat memory. That's an addition on this side. We're also going to have the ability to open the trunk right here. You can push that to open the gas door. That's one good thing about this being a hybrid combination. It's not pure electric, it still gets great gas mileage, but you don't have to worry about, do I have enough charge capacity? As long as you have enough gas in the fuel tank, you're always going to be in really good shape. Now, I do have to say, I really like the look here as far as the digital instrument cluster goes. Very nicely laid out. You can obviously have navigation in the center. You can make a lot of changes here, go through a lot of information, and as you can see, even though we're a little low on gas, we still have more than enough to make our test drive today. That's not going to be a problem at all. You will also see the typical look of the steering wheel that we've had for a while here on the S60, but everything looks nice. It still looks very modern. Here are the controls for the lighting on the vehicle. Also, those things called blinkers you can turn on and off to let people around you know what you're doing. I know some of you can't afford that on your vehicle, and that's why you don't actually seem to use them. You just don't have them, do you? Can't say anything sarcastic about the control for the windshield wipers, but there it is. And the one thing that is typically a big knock here is the infotainment system. People say it's very difficult to learn and use. Well, to be polite to all of you, I'm not going to demonstrate it, but you do have the Google interface now. It's all voice command activated. So instead of having to figure out how to change things and do different things, you can actually let Google handle it for you. You just say, hey, you know what, and you know who. And I'm not saying it because sometimes that sets off devices in your homes, and I don't want to do that. But that's a good thing because you don't have to worry about it anymore the way you used to. Like I said earlier, you do have the heated seats here in the front. You also have the heated steering wheel for the driver. Would you like to see a ventilated steering wheel? That's something we've never seen before. And let's take a look at the cameras around the vehicle, as there are several. We have the overhead view, as you can see there. And then all we have to do to go back is go right here. Let's see if I can get that to work. There we go. And we can look anywhere we need to, anywhere we want to. There are easy options here to use depending on where you're parked. If somebody does a terrible parking job around you and you want to be polite and make sure you don't hit them, well, guess what? That's how you do it. Very simple. And if you want to know, one thing you'll notice is that you don't have the scroll wheel here anymore that we used to have that would allow you to change driving modes. That's because it's up here. So if you noticed what I did, let me go back here. I went to driving right here. We're going to go into that, and there are your driving modes. So you have hybrid power, pure, and constant all-wheel drive. So a lot going on there. A lot of different features you can turn on and off, such as pilot assist if you want to use that. If you don't want to use that, well, then there you go. You can also go in here depending on what you're doing with battery usage or what you want to do. Well, you can make changes there, as you can see. And how about safety assistance? Well, there you go. Lane keeping assist, roadside information, and ready to drive notifications. That's kind of an interesting thing. I'm not sure why anybody would know that. Maybe they're just not sure if they're ready to drive yet. There is the traffic sign as far as what's around in our area. You can see what's there, the digital speedometer, all that good stuff is there. Very nicely laid out setup here. And believe me, when I say this infotainment system is easier than ever to use than it was in the past, that's really true as far as having Google Assistant. Hey, by the way, I did want to show you one more thing with the camera views. When you start to get close to an object when you're parking your vehicle, well, obviously that's going to show up on the screen and just give you a better idea of how close you are to whatever it is you're close to. Okay, I was quiet there for a few seconds because I wanted to give you the opportunity to hear the road noise, just to hear what it sounds like. I know some people may say, oh, you need a decibel meter to measure road noise. No, actually you don't. You just need a human being to tell you what's acceptable and what's not, because everybody's different. Somebody's going to say it's fine, somebody's going to say it isn't. It really depends a lot of the time on what people are used to. So that's really what it all amounts to. But when it comes to driving this S60, the one thing that really amazes me is how, that is just amazing. Wow. When you look at this car, if you don't know the horsepower and torque numbers, you would never guess that it pulls as hard as it does. You can really feel the torque when you drop the pedal down. And I was maybe at half throttle. I didn't even go all the way to the floor with it right there. And you saw how quickly it jumped up to 70 miles per hour. There is no doubt that this car will surprise a lot of people. And it's a real nice balance. It has a nice sporty feel to it because of the horsepower and torque and because of its low center of gravity. It handles very well, but it also has a nice smooth ride quality. It's a really nice vehicle to drive. And one thing I did not mention earlier, I showed you the safety features you can go in and change and adjust within the infotainment system right here. But one thing I didn't mention is the fact that you also have blind spot monitoring, or the blind spot information system, in both side view mirrors. And so an additional feature that is not out of the ordinary, but just in case you were wondering if it was part of that $58,690 price tag, well, yeah, it is. This is a real neat car because it's a multitasker in a multitude of ways. It's a nice car for a long road trip, nice for city driving. It's comfortable. It's got great acceleration. It definitely is going to do well in a multitude of ways. And so no matter what your situation is, if you're looking for an S90, an S60, let's get our numbers right, Tom, come on now. This is definitely a good choice. And even though the price, well, yeah, depending on who you are, you might say, yeah, that's kind of a high price. I don't know if I want to pay nearly $60,000 for an S60, but depending on who you are and what your situation is, this may be the right vehicle for you. I'm always curious to know what your thoughts are on subjects such as pricing and other things that this vehicle has to offer. And that is ultimately what you get with the 2023 version of the Volvo S60 Recharge all-wheel drive plus dark theme for a sticker price of $58,690. Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments. Is this a vehicle you plan to buy for the 2023 model year? Maybe you already own one. Tell me all about that. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this vehicle. I have to say a special thanks to my friends at Volvo Cars of Shreveport for loaning me this S60 for the day. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you'd like to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.